Surprise, surprise, in central Pennsylvania. It's good to have you back once again. It's time now for the announcement of the Springboks starting 15 against the All Blacks for the Rugby World Cup 2023 final at the Stade de France in Saint Denis in the 6e arrondissement à Paris in Paris. Well, folks, not many changes. Now, I took an adventuresome take on my prediction last night and said that maybe some changes are in order. Some people agreed, some people disagreed. That's cool. Everyone's got some good input on that, but only a few changes here, and not the changes I suggested. Kane and Moody remains out of the lineup. All right, it's a risk we take. Now, in here's full disclosure, I think Kurtley Arnse is a much more dynamic and exciting and a better player overall than Kane and Moody, but he's shorter, and that's the problem. So I'm not going to dispute this selection. I think it's a good selection. But they've changed fly half and scrum half, and they've gone with the experienced team of Henri Pollard and Faf de Klerk, who've played together 25 times in test matches, and of course with a starting duo in the 2019 victory over England in the final. So we'll see how it goes. I had opted for Monty Lubick and Kobus Reinach to come in again, but they have been put out. In fact, Kobus Reinach's not even in the lineup. Jock Nienaber and Rossi Erasmus have taken a huge risk in this lineup. They've gone with a 7-1 selection on the bench, and there is no backup scrum half. So Faf better not get up to any of his little silly shenanigans trying to get penalties and wind up with a yellow card or doing something stupid like he is wont to do, because now it all rests on his shoulders. If necessary, we can put someone else in the scrum half position, but he's the experienced scrum half and none on the bench. So let me run through the lineup. At fullback, we stay with Damien Willemse, and then in the center we've got Jesse Creel and at fullback, Damien Willemse. On the right wing, Kurtley Arnse. I'm fine with that selection, no change. Jesse Creel, Damien de Allende in the middle. They both seem to disappear in the last game. But as I said, I believe it had a lot more to do with the high ball that Alex Mitchell and Owen Farrell, especially Alex Mitchell, were putting against the Springboks and kicking it to the wings, who were overwhelmed. Cheslin Colby and Kurtley Arnse could not deal with it, and even Dan Willemse had some challenges with it when the ball got deep to him. So I think the play of Jesse Creel and Damien de Allende was effectively neutralized by England's game plan. Hopefully they're up to the task again. They've been brilliant in this World Cup, especially Jesse Creel. All right, Cheslin Colby on the left wing, and then Henri Pollard and Faf de Klerk at the fly half and scrum half. I'm good with that. That's the two changes right there, Pollard and de Klerk. In, Monty Lubick and Kobus Reinach out. Duane Vermeulen wears number 8 jersey again. What a great fitting way for Duane Vermeulen to end his test career. If the Springboks can win this World Cup, that would be brilliant. Back-to-back World Cups. To be the second team to do that. New Zealand, of course, did it in 2011, 2015. I think I misspoke on a previous broadcast. Then we've got Peter Steph Dutoy, the former World Rugby Player of the Year in 2019. After the World Cup, he was selected for that. And then Sia Khaleesi, the captain, back at number 6. The locks are Franco Mostart and Eben Etzebeth. Franco Mostart has really worked his way in there. Of course, the man lost in all this is Lut de Jager, his persistent injuries, and he's just out of the mix. So Franco Mostart and Eben Etzebeth are your locks. In the front row, Franz Molherba, Bongi Ambanambi, and Steven Kitsoff. So, off the bench, number 16, the utility man, Dion Fourie, Oxen Che, and Trevor Nkanye makes an appearance on the bench. Vincent Koch is no longer there. He was injured, apparently, so Vincent Koch is not available for selection. Trevor Nkanye moves up, and the replacement front row are Dion Fourie, Oxen Che, and Trevor Nkanye. Replacement lock, Jean Klein, and specialist, Quagga Smith. We've got here, wearing the 21 jersey, R.G. Stamen and Jean Klein are the backup locks, and those are good choices. Good choices, tall, athletic guys. Of course, R.G. Stamen is kind of like a few other players like Lou Diager, who tend to get injured all the time, but he has been healthy in this World Cup, and R.G. Stamen is on the bench along with Jean Klein to come in. The utility guy is Quagga Smith, and of course he's listed as a backup scrum half, but he's not. Jasper Wiese, wearing the number 22 jersey, is the backup Duane Vermeulen, and Willie Leroux is the backup at fullback. So there you go. On the bench, Dion Fourie, Oxen Che, Trevor Nkanye, Jean Klein, R.G. Stamen, Quagga Smith, Jasper Wiese, and Willie Leroux. Now, there are 5 changes in this lineup. And as I said, it's the 25th time that Pollard and Faf de Klerk have teamed up in a test match. It's a 7-1 split. The Springboks are taking some risk. This is the story before the World Cup. Will they go with the 7-1 split? Will they go with a 6-2, a 5-3? What will they do? And is it even legal? Was a lot of the moaning going on in the rugby world. But that is the decision. It's a 7-1 split. Jean-Claude, Jasper Wiese, Trevor Kanye all come on, as I mentioned, and Vincent Koch is out, and Cobus Reinach is not on the bench, and neither is Monty Libick. So look at that, folks. Look at that. You're taking some risk here. If Pollard gets injured, Faf de Klerk is not the backup kicker. That's nonsense. Don't buy into it. We've got a problem. Damien Willemse will have to slide in there and be the kicker. If Faf gets injured, who slides in at scrum half? Taking some big risk here, but that's what they're doing. So they need to go all the way, all 80 minutes, Faf and Henri Pollard. Now, to be fair, Faf's got a lot of rest in this World Cup, so he should be fit and ready to go. Pollard, coming off injuries, only played a little bit. He played in the Tonga game, and he's played a bit since then coming off the bench, and he's been brilliant, so he ought to be fresh as well. And there you go. Now, 14 of the 23 match day players won the World Cup with the Springboks in 2019. This is the most experienced Springbok team ever in a game of this nature. 987 caps amongst the starting 15 alone. Wow, nearly 1,000 caps amongst the starters. And not because they're old or past it. There's some people a bit old on the team, like Twain Vermeulen, a couple others, and Dion Ferré, of course, but he just became a Springbok recently. This is because it's a very experienced squad, even amongst the younger players. So there is your starting 15, your bench, and we do not see Monty Libick, we do not see Cobus Reinach, Vincent Koch out for injury. We see those guys all gone. As I said, Jean-Claude, Jasper Wiese, and Trevor Kanye all come on. So, what are your thoughts? Now, this is my take on this. I think it's a perfectly suitable lineup. It's risk. It's a huge risk going with a 7-1 bench, and you're taking some chances there. We need Pollard and Faf de Klerk to be effective and remain in the game throughout. That's what we need. If one of them goes down, we've got a problem. We've got to make some serious adjustments on the pitch, as there's no one on the bench to really back them up. You can make arguments that Billy LaRue can kick. Not buying that. Just like I'm not buying Faf can kick. We saw that in the Ireland game. Didn't quite get it done. So there is your Springbok selection for the Rugby World Cup final. This will be the Springboks' fourth appearance in a final in World Cup action, and they've won the previous three. 1995 against New Zealand, the defending champion at the time. 2007 in France against England, and 2019 in Japan against England once more. This time it's against the All Blacks again, so they only play the All Blacks and England in the final. Can the Springboks do it? Yes, they can. My pre-World Cup selection was South Africa to win the World Cup, and I stick to that despite some of the tumultuous things that happened. Now, let me address something that came up in the build-up to this World Cup because of an allegation made last week by England's Tom Curry. Tom Curry claimed that, of course, everyone knows the story by now, that Bongi Mbonambi called him a racial slur during the game. And the Springbok fans were quick to defend after listening to the audio and say that it wasn't a racial slur. It was actually Afrikaans, Vatakant. Anyway, that's not exactly what he said, but it's close enough. It's not a slur. That's which side. So, or Vitkant, it's the white side. In other words, the visiting team, or the team with the white jerseys. So that situation has been resolved for the short term and possibly forever. World Rugby announced today, and I published a video a short while ago, World Rugby announced today that, in fact, there is insufficient evidence to move forward. They have reserved the right to reopen the case later on, so the clock is frozen, not stopped, and doesn't expire. They have reserved the right to reopen this case and re-examine it should further evidence come forward. Seems unlikely. Now, what is interesting in this is that World Rugby acknowledged what was reported in the press yesterday, that they actually went back and looked at an allegation of Bongi Mbonambi doing the same thing at the Twickenham game in November of 2022, a year ago. Now, the problem with that, and the good thing with that, there's two sides to this. The problem with that is that should they have found something there, he actually said something and did something inappropriate, World Rugby has no right to sanction him for that. You have 36 hours to file a grievance. You don't get to file grievances from 1987 or 2005. You must file the grievance within 36 hours under the laws of rugby union. England never did that last year. So they probably went to it to reinforce the argument that Bongi was making racial slurs. That's the bad side. So had they found something, there's really nothing legitimate they could have done. But I wouldn't put it past World Rugby to have taken sanctions against him if they found something. On the flip side, and I think it's perfectly appropriate for them to actually look at that tape from 2022, if they found something that exonerates Bongi Mbonambi, and it is in line with him actually speaking Afrikaans and for Tom Curry to have misunderstood what was said, then it would have exonerated him completely. And so I don't know if they didn't find anything that could prove it one way or the other, but the bottom line is that they said insufficient evidence to pursue it further. Now, the problem I have with this is that they allowed this to build for several days, during which idiots on social media, according to the Sale Sharks, that's the home team of Tom Curry, according to the English Rugby Union, and according to others, Tom Curry received death threats and widespread abuse on social media. That should never occur. And by the same token, Bongi Mbonambi was subjected to lots of racism, bigotry, particularly coming out of England, claiming that he was a racist and so on. This is why the use of the term is so cheap and so irrelevant. First off, instead of acting like adults and making a comment was a racist slur. Now, that's the press that did. I'm saying, not saying Tom Curry said it. Tom Curry said he was called an inappropriate name. But the media runs off the racist slur. They don't know what they're talking about. Falsely calling people racist, you know. A racist is someone who believes there's a difference between races and advocates applying advantage or disadvantage for a group of people based on their skin pigmentation. That, by definition, is racist, which, of course, would mean the ANC government would qualify for that. And also my government, the United States, at times would qualify it. Affirmative action is a racist policy. It excludes people based on their skin pigmentation, which is not how you uplift anyone. You uplift everyone by ensuring equality of opportunity. Now, calling somebody a name can be racist, but it isn't necessarily racist. It's certainly bad form. So the problem here is that World Rugby took Saturday night, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, nearly 6 days before they issued a statement in their investigation. Now, I appreciate the need to take time, but they could have reached this conclusion they've reached now on Sunday, certainly on Monday, instead of allowing this nonsense to build. And World Rugby, who is appalled at the so-called or accused allegations or threats and demonization of both these players, is appalled by that. Well, you should be appalled by your tardy response, World Rugby. It is atrocious that it took you this long to come to a conclusion that the general public could have come to much sooner if you allow us to see the tape. So that's my take on that. I've already done a short video noting and announcing that Bongi Mbonambi is cleared. It doesn't say he's innocent. It doesn't say he's guilty. It says he's cleared because there's insufficient evidence. So unfortunately, this stink will probably hang around Bongi whenever he goes to England and fans boo him and they act like children, like the French did, booing the Springboks when they were on the pitch, booing Owen Farrell whenever he got on the pitch, because it's France, they hate England. So this is unfortunate, but that's the world we live in, the juvenile behavior of hate wankers and of frauds and charlatans and social media keyboard warriors who take people's content, alter it, take things that people say, falsely attribute it to something, like calling Bongi Mbonambi a racist, so just like they did to Eben Etzebeth in 2019, just months before the World Cup, in the build-up, a incident precipitated by a person and who then claimed racism when they're the person who actually started the allegation, or started the altercation. Eben Etzebeth tried to leave, and this person tried to attack Eben Etzebeth. And so that got turned over to the fraudulent South African Human Rights Commission, which is the South African Black Supremacy Commission, not human rights. They don't care about human rights. They don't care about human rights. It's a whitewash. It's a rubber stamp organization to attack and demonize South Africans, particularly minorities, but not exclusively. Sometimes black South Africans are demonized illegitimately. There are legitimate reasons to be angry with racism and bigotry. It should never be tolerated, particularly from hate wankers who alter video and lie about people. But the bottom line here is that the Springboks 15 is selected, and it looks like a good 15 to me. I'm good with it. I'm good with Pollard and Faf, but that 7-1 split, I don't have a problem with that. But they're taking a risk. They better hope there's no injury. They better hope both those players can make it all the way, and they better hope they both perform. If Faf comes on and does his stupid little games where, ooh, look, he tries to throw the ball into another player, or he looks for the referee to give him a call, or he simply does his box kicks that go 10 meters and turn the ball over all day long, we've got a problem. If Pollard gets injured, we've got a problem. But we'll overcome it, and my prediction is South Africa will win this World Cup in either case. Simple as that. I expect to see South Africa win this World Cup. Now, come Sunday morning, I could be eating some crow. I'm not really a fan of crow. Maybe I get some chicken instead. But the point is that could be eating crow for this prediction. But again, I stand by my prediction. I said it all along. And quite frankly, if you're a rugby fan, what a cool final, right? I mean, the only other final that would have been truly exciting I think for rugby fans would have been perhaps a France-Ireland final. Ireland finally not choking, getting past the quarterfinal, making it to the final, and France in a home final with the best team arguably they've ever fielded, likely to win it against Ireland. That would have been exciting. This is also exciting. All Blacks, Springboks, it's for all the marbles at the Stade de France in St. Denis, Paris. Saturday night, 9 p.m. local, 9 p.m. South Africa, 3 in the afternoon here on the East Coast of the United States, noon on the West Coast. It'll be 8 p.m. in Ireland and the British Isles. So that is what it's all about, folks. Hopefully we've got something to crow about on Monday. And hopefully Nike will not screw this up. If the Springboks win, do we have to wait 4 years to get the next jersey with 4 William Webb Ellis trophies on the sleeve? Let's hope not. I mean, I had to wait this time all the way for this World Cup to get one that had those trophies on it. That sucks. I mean, so now we have 3 on there. We have to wait 4 more years to get a 4th one. And we'll see what happens. But Nike, they screwed up the sale of the jerseys with a limited number of the Springboks 2023 Rugby World Cup jerseys in South Africa. And a lot of people were disappointed, very bitterly disappointed. I was nearly one of them. I planned my trip for my news coverage and my interviews and appearances, and working with different groups, political groups, NGOs, helping them out when I was in South Africa. And I planned it in advance of the World Cup. And I'd hoped that the Rugby World Cup jersey would be available, but literally the damn thing became available just 3 days or something like that before I flew back, so I got it just in time. Yeah, so a lot of people hesitated, and when you snooze, you lose. A lot of Springbok fans unable to get the World Cup jersey despite the fact they want it. If Nike issues another round of these jerseys that they had for the World Cup, they will sell out almost instantaneously, especially if the Springboks win this World Cup. If they win it, everyone's going to want the jersey. They're all going to want to wear the green and gold. Yeah, there were a lot of fans in France, ladies and gentlemen, who were huge Springbok fans. I was really not taken aback, because that's a negative sound, and I wasn't shocked, but I was a little surprised at how many Springbok fans that aren't South Africans live in France. I went to all 4 pool stage games, and there was great support for South Africa. The one exception, arguably, would have been the Ireland game, where the place was just inundated with the Irish. They were everywhere. So, yeah. But the rest of the games, Tonga, Romania, and Scotland, huge South African support from Frenchmen and French women. Yeah, so anyway, that's the 15. Let me run through it again for those tuning in late. The starting 15 for the Springboks. Here we go. At fullback, it's Damien Willemse once again. On the right wing, Kurtley Arendse gets the nod. Jesse Creel, Damien de Allende in the center there. Cheslin Colby on the left wing. And the fly half, scrum half combination is Andre Pollard and Faf de Klerk. And not only are Monty Libbik and Kobus Reinach not starting the game, they're also not on the bench. They're not in the game day selection. So we are taking a risk here. Dwayne Vermeulen wearing the number 8 jersey again, the stud that he is. Peter Steph du Toit, former World Rugby Player of the Year, number 7. Sia Khaleesi, the captain, is back after a miraculous recovery from an injury, and he's had a pretty good World Cup. Good to see Sia back in there. Hopefully Wayne Barnes will listen to him when Sia approaches him and asks him a question instead of dismissing him like so many World Rugby officials do. Franco Mostart and Eben Etzebeth are your starting locks. Front row, Franz Malherbe, Bongi Ambanami, cleared to play in this game, and Steven Kitsoff, once again. I said, I was okay with Kitsoff staying, and they agreed. On the bench, Dion Fourie wearing the 16 jersey, Oxen Shea and Trevor Nkanye are your replacement front row. Jean Klein and R.G. Stamen are your replacement locks. Quagga Smith is slotted in there as like he's coming in as a scrum half, but he is not coming as a scrum half. He is going to play a different position when he comes in. Jasper Wiese and Willie Leroux fill out the rest of the lineup. Jasper Wiese, of course, backing up Dwayne Vermeulen, and Willie Leroux, the backup fullback. 5 changes from the last game. It's the 25th time that Pollard and Faf de Klerk have played together as a duo. Folks, can you hit that like button? Wow, just 31 likes. Are you listening intently, or you just feel free to hit that like button? That doesn't cost you anything, man. That's free. You don't have to be a member. You do have to be a subscriber, though, I think. I think you have to be, well, you have to have a YouTube account, not be a subscriber to hit that like button. But anyway, please hit it. So, it's a 7-1 split. And as I said, Jean Klein, Jasper Wiese, and Trevor Nkanye come in. The reason Trevor Nkanye came in and stepped up onto the bench is that Vincent Koch was injured. I was unaware of that, but apparently that's the case. 14 of the starting of the 23 that come into this game were on the team that won the World Cup in 2019. So that's actually a healthy mix of veterans who were there and have done it before, and some new fresh blood that haven't had that chance. So this is the most experienced Springbok team, starting 15, that's ever stood up for this sort of match. 987 caps amongst the starters. That is just absolutely incredible. So my prediction was off by a little bit, and I took some risk. I said bring in Willy Leroux and put Lucan Yuam on the bench. So Lucan Yuam is the odd man out, the best player in the world at his position. He doesn't get to appear in a single game in the Rugby World Cup. That is incredibly disappointing. His injury came at an unfortunate time, and he didn't reach fitness, so it really sucks. But he is part of the selection, and if they win, well, whether they win or lose, he's going to get a medal. It's going to be gold or silver. But if they win, he will be a world champion again. But really sucky that we don't get to see Lucan Yuam on the pitch. Very disappointing. But Jesse Creel has been brilliant, and it's been his time to shine in this World Cup. The last match aside, but again, my analysis of why we saw so little out of Jesse Creel and out of Damien de Allende is that the ball was simply kept away from them. Brilliant game plan by England, and we'll see if people agree. But there you go, folks. There's my take on the selection. What do you think? You agree? Do you disagree? Feel free to leave a comment in the video afterwards and give me your selection, or give me your comments on whether Jacques Nienaber and Rossi Erasmus have gotten it correctly for this World Cup final. I think they have, given what they've got, but they are taking a risk. We'll say that right now. We'll say it right now. They are taking a risk. But hey, this is a coaching staff that likes to take risks, likes to be innovative, and it's paid off in the past. Hopefully it will pay off here. And right now, ironically, the team that came into this World Cup the most disarray amongst the two was New Zealand. The team that's favored by most pundits and gambling houses is New Zealand to win this game. And I'm here to tell you that New Zealand is not as good as they claim they are. This team is not as good, but is a smart team that takes advantage of opponents' mistakes. And we cannot allow Richie Mo'unga and Beauden Barrett to do to the Springboks what Alex Mitchell and Owen Farrell did in the semifinal. Kick the high ball so high in the air, give their wings time to get up there, secure the ball, the high ball, and regain possession. Keep the Springboks off balance. If that happens, if that becomes the norm like it was in the England game, it's over. South Africa will not win this game, unless they somehow magically come back at the end like they've done the last two games. But that is the concern. And again, that's one concern. The second concern that I have is if Pollard or de Klerk go out of the game or injured, we've got a problem. So it's a risk. But hey, Jacques Nienaber, Rossi Erasmus, they're master risk takers. And I think they can pull this off. So there you have it, folks. What else can we say? Boca, boca, boca. And one more thing I will say about the Bongi Ambinabi incident, the Tom Curry situation where Sale and World Rugby are talking, both players have been subjected to abuse. Knock it off. If you're one of the idiots doing that, I don't think anybody in my audience does that, except this one hate wanker, he probably does that. But my audience, by and large, doesn't treat people that way. So, knock it off. It's a game, and don't abuse these players. And while we're at it, World Rugby, how about some interest and concern about the welfare and safety of Cobus Reinach and his family and his child? I'd like to see your interest and concern. And I also like to know about law enforcement's investigation into this. Now, it's not my place to know, law enforcement, but I'd like to be reassured that this incident is being investigated seriously and that an arrest is made for the person who threatened the life of Cobus Reinach, as well as anybody who threatened the life of Tom Curry and or Bongi Ambinabi. There's simply no place for it. This isn't soccer. This isn't the beautiful game, which is not beautiful. It's full of people whining about people bumping into them, screaming for yellow cards, and corrupt officials. We've seen how corrupt FIFA has been for decades. Sepp Blatter and his crew. Anyway, it is World Rugby, and we've got a final Saturday night. But before that, folks, don't forget there's something else going on. Don't forget there's something else going on. Tomorrow, it's the bronze final, and it's the Pumas, Los Pumas from Argentina versus England, in a rematch of the first game of the pool stage for those two teams when England's Tom Curry got a red card, I say illegitimately, and so does Nas Boden. And many other people say that it was illegitimate. It was a bit harsh, particularly in light of the way they handed out red cards the rest of the tournament. That one was a bit harsh. And at the time, I thought maybe it could be a red card, but in retrospect, it was a bit harsh. But Tom Curry and England will face Argentina. Last time, just a few minutes into the game, the Pumas had a one-man advantage for most of that game, and they couldn't even score a try. So they're going to have to go back to the drawing board, and they've got a lot of work to do to figure out how they're going to beat England. But they can beat England. They can beat England, a la the way they beat Japan, but they've got to play good rugby, limit their mistakes, and get it done. Can't miss anything off the tee, because England will take the points on offer, and they'll rack up the scoreboard like they did against South Africa, getting 15 points before we finally got our act together late in the game. So the Pumas can win, but I'm predicting England to win this game by about, I think it was 5 points or something like that is what I came up with. And then Saturday, the final, South Africa, New Zealand, 29-26, South Africa wins. We shall see. Don't forget this weekend, folks, tomorrow and on Saturday on Rugby Ascendant, we're doing live play-by-play and color commentary. And also, we'll be doing post-game analysis. Now, for the Springboks final, I'll actually be going on air an hour before the game, discussing the game, talking about the permutations, the potentialities, any news that breaks between now and then. And then we'll be staying most likely on air for at least an hour, maybe longer afterwards to analyze the outcome. Hopefully we'll be ecstatic. I may not have a voice, either way, win or lose. We'll see. But if we lose, I probably won't be on air for an hour and a half afterwards. Anyway, that's what's coming up. And don't forget, we have this weekend United Rugby Championship URC games again. The South African games will be taking place, of course. The Bulls are on the road up to Europe, and I think they're playing Ulster. And then the Stormers will be hosting the Scarlets, who the Bulls slaughtered last week. And we've also got other games going on, the Sharks and Lions. So that's this weekend. I'll be doing some of those, if not all those games as well. So that'll keep me quite busy on Saturday. Anyway, folks, thanks a lot for your time, for your patience. Be sure to hit the like button if you don't mind, and I'll catch you later. If there's any more news breaking, we'll come out with it. Not doing a regular newscast today. Just wanted to get this out there about Springbok lineout. And thank you all so very much. Take care of yourselves. Be safe out there. And hit that like button. It doesn't cost anything but a moment of your time. All right, cheers, everybody. Bye, donkey. Quelle bois.